Hola amigos, ¿qué tal? Stuart here from Spain Speaks with an update video. Have a bit of a chat about what's been going on in Spain over the last week and also what's been going on in Portugal too over the last few days. So let's go. Now get the weather out of the way. As you can see, overcast day today. I don't think the sun's going to come out until around 11, maybe 12 midday. So it's going to be a cool morning, around 21, 22 degrees Celsius top today. And compared to Spain temperatures, or at least the temperatures where I live in Spain, this is a huge relief. So what's been going on in Spain over the last week or so? Well, it's all about elections. There was another election debate during the week. This time the main leader of the opposition, Mr. Feijóo, didn't take part in this debate. It was only between Pedro Sánchez, Yolanda Díaz and the other candidate, the Vox candidate, Mr. Abascal. And I think I'm going to explain briefly who the four main candidates in these elections are. Firstly, we've got Pedro Sánchez, who is the sitting Prime Minister, the current Prime Minister of Spain. He's up for re-election as Prime Minister. Then we've got the main opposition leader, Mr. Feijóo, who, as I said, wasn't at the debate the other day. I don't think he wanted to associate himself with Vox on that platform. That's what some of the rumours are saying. So those are the two main candidates representing the two biggest political parties in Spain. Then you have two minority parties that are also up there and will most likely form coalitions with either the left side, PSOE, or the right side, Partido Popular, and they are Vox, of course, the hard right party. The leader is Santiago Abascal, as I said before. He comes from a PP background. I think he used to work for the Partido Popular, and then around 10 years ago he decided to split from the Partido Popular and set up his own party with the help of some others called Vox, V-O-X. And then on the other side of politics, the hard left side of politics, you've got Yolanda Díaz and her new party, which is called Sumar. Yolanda Díaz is Gallega. She comes from Galicia, similar to Mr. Feijóo. And Ms. Díaz comes from a communist background. When she was very young, she joined the Communist Party in Spain, and her political career has always been on that hard left side of politics. I don't think she calls herself a communist anymore. She calls herself a progressive leftist. And this new political party, which she has formed recently, is an attempt to join all of the left-wing parties. So you've got Greenies in there, you've got animal rights groups in there, you've got communists in there as well, the Izquierda Unida is in that group as well, and some other people who are on the left side of politics, the left side of politics in Spain, if that makes sense. Now I know what you're thinking. Who is most likely going to win the election in Spain tomorrow? Well, the answer is not that simple because it's very, very close according to the polls. Some polls are giving a victory to the right side of politics, a right-wing coalition victory between the PP and Vox, and other polls are suggesting that maybe the current leader, Mr. Sánchez, can pull a rabbit out of the hat and win the elections tomorrow, albeit in a coalition with the political party Sumar, which, as I said, is led by a former communist in Yolanda Díaz. And to be completely honest, I personally have no idea who is going to win the general elections tomorrow. However, if the results of the autonomous community elections and local elections a couple of months ago are anything to go by, Spain will most likely have a new government come Monday. But that's only if we take into consideration the results of those previous elections. But in any case, regardless of who wins tomorrow, I don't think there's going to be a huge change to Spanish society. But that's just my opinion and the opinion of some others. Because we're either going to get a continuation of what we have now, which is Mr. Sánchez and company for another 4 years, centre-left politics, with a little bit of radical left politics thrown in there also, or Mr. Feijóo, who is centre-right, and with the help of Vox, a little bit of radical right-wing politics thrown in the mix. But as I said a week or so ago, it will be watered down radical policies like we have seen with Podemos and the current government over the last 4 years or so. I think on the other side of politics, if Vox gets into a coalition, we'll see watered down versions of some of their main policies. So nothing to worry about in my opinion. Spain will continue to be a southern European democracy in the European Union. That is not going to change. So anyone worried about Spain returning to its autocratic past, don't worry, that is not going to happen, or at least that's my opinion. Now, one of the big topics of debate over the last couple of weeks in this election campaign has been the issue of toll roads in Spain and whether or not Spain is going to have tolls introduced on its currently free road system as of 2024. And let me just say that Spaniards are not happy about this idea. Because let's be honest, when you're used to using roads for free, you don't suddenly want to have to pay for them, do you? And this subject, the subject of tolls on Spanish roads, has been another embarrassing episode for the Spanish government because again, they were caught lying red-handed. Telling fibs, again, was Mr. Sanchez and his group of ministers. A couple of weeks ago, in the first election debate, opposition leader Mr. Feijóo showed a document to Mr. Sanchez saying that in 2024, the Spanish government had promised to impose tolls on Spanish roads. Mr. Sanchez said, no, that's a lie. Mr. Feijóo, you were telling a lie. Estás mintiendo. And of course, that was the end of that. Everybody thought that perhaps Mr. Feijóo was not telling the truth. And then a couple of days later, the head of the Spanish Traffic Authority, Mr. Navarro, came out and contradicted Mr. Sanchez and said that yes, indeed, Spain had promised to put tolls on roads in 2024 because of European funds that they want to get. Brussels wants some guarantee that they're going to get the money back, and a way to do this is put tolls on the roads or increase taxes, one or the other. 2 hours later, Mr. Navarro retracted his words and the government came out in force saying that it's all lies, that is not going to happen. Brussels does not want Spain to do this and Spain is not going to do it. End of the story, right? Well, no. In Spain, that is never the end of the story. Because yesterday or the day before, Pedro Sanchez came out and said that yes, there is an agreement with Brussels to put tolls on the roads in 2024. So he blatantly lied 10 days out from a general election. Now, the subject of tolls is an interesting one for me because every time I cross the border and come into Portugal, I see a toll system. Here in Portugal, basically every road you use, you have to pay a toll. But in Spain, no. And to give you an example, if I drive from Madrid to the Portuguese border, it is completely free, don't pay a cent for the roads. But as soon as I cross the border into Portugal and get to this destination here, which is on the coast, I'm 20 euros out of pocket, roughly, because of the tolls that I have paid. Portugal introduced the system some years ago where they converted free roads into toll roads by putting these barriers over the top of the road, and every time you drive through, you have to pay. It's not a lot of money, it's about 60 or 70 cents every time you drive through, but it all adds up. The further you go, the more you pay. And this, I imagine, is the system or something similar that Spain will have to impose in 2024. So everybody that has been driving on free roads in Spain for the last 30 or 40 years, fantastic free roads, haven't had to pay for good quality motorways that take you all around the country. As of next year, we're most likely going to have to pay for them. And as I said a couple of minutes ago, the majority of Spaniards are not happy about this idea, and you can't blame them, right? Now, while I'm on the topic of Portugal, some big news for people that are planning to travel to this country by road over the next 3 weeks or so, because the Pope is coming to Portugal at the beginning of August, I believe. He's going to a World Youth Day in Lisbon. Millions of young people, the majority of them Catholics, I imagine, are going to be heading to Portugal for this World Youth Day and hoping to catch a glimpse of the Pope, who, as I said, is also coming. And what this means is that Portugal is shutting down its border with Spain, or at least they're putting controls on the border. I shouldn't say shutting down because the border is still going to be open, but every border is going to have a control point, and people that cross the border are going to have to show identification, something that doesn't exist, of course, within Schengen, but with these special events like the Pope visiting, like he did back in 2017, I think, when he went to a place called Fatima, just to my north, the Portuguese did something similar. They put controls on all of the borders and made sure that security was really high for the Pope's visit, and they're doing the same thing this August when he comes back again to this country. So if you're planning to visit Portugal over the next couple of weeks and you're coming into Portugal by car from Spain, be prepared for police controls and checks. Make sure you've got some identification ready to show the police officer should you be stopped, because as I said, security is going to be lifted for the Pope's visit. On that note, I'm going to wrap the video up. Questions and comments, please leave them in the section below. If you've got an opinion on any of the topics that I have spoken about today, whether it's the Spanish elections, who you think is going to win, please let me know in the comment section below. If you think that Spain is going to change if a right-wing government comes into power, again, the comment section is the place for you. And if you don't like the idea of tolls on Spanish roads, currently free roads, please let me know in that comment section. Give the video a thumbs up if you liked it, thumbs down if you didn't. I'll see you in the next one. Hasta luego, from Portugal.